Greetings, Jules. Thank you so much. We're back. We're back, even though the time difference. Yeah, but we already, again, in the same day, even though it's night, it's yours. And yeah, it's morning, beautiful morning. We did have a few sirens over the last night, but it is something that somehow you're getting adjusted to, somehow it's becoming your reality. And we mentioned that yesterday as well with the guys on the introductional Zoom, that sooner or later you adjust your body, your brain, your mind even, adjust to this reality. And when it comes to the mind, which is the power for the brain, which is the resource, our main, and correct me if I'm wrong, our main mission here is to save that mind, is not to let mind to get corrupted.
To be invaded.
Invaded, thank you.
Yeah.
By the occupation, by the aggressor.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And today we're carrying on. We covered yesterday a definition of post-traumatic syndrome,
Yes.
And, how to define it. So today's section, we deal with the development of psychotraumatic syndrome's factors, right?
Yes, factors.
Factors, right.
Factors.
And in the English version, it's page number 6. In the Ukrainian one, it might be number 7, but guys,
yes.
Definitely.
Okay, very good. So in this section, development of psychotraumatic syndromes, factors, the focus is on different factors that will affect the answer, the response to a traumatic event. So we have factors related to the event itself. We have factors related to the individual, and then we have factors related to the milieu. So we have 3 kinds of factors that can influence the response we have to a traumatic event. So the factors related to the event itself, we have the intensity and the seriousness of the event. Sometimes it's very intense, it's very dangerous, exposure to a life danger, torture, barbarity, values and taboo transgression, like in rape, and serious physical wounds with important or irreversible sequelae, death of close people in violent condition. When we witness that, when we witness the death of someone else, when we are confronted to serious wounds of somebody else, when we witness massive destruction of a village or a town, or violence within the family. So this is one kind of very important factor that will influence the severity of our response to the event. The second one is the exposure level to traumatic factors, the length of the event. Let's take again a very simple thing. You are climbing on a ladder and the ladder falls. It takes few seconds. It is an accident. It is maybe causing the death of somebody, but it is a sudden, very fast accident. But you have some events that last a long time, like torture. People will be tortured during hours and hours and day after day, and this is absolutely horrible. The recurrence of risk or the recurrence of deleterious events. So we talk time to time of the sirens and of the possibility of missiles. So this is a risk which is recurring all the time. So with time, we become less and less able to support it. So we have to understand that. The frequency of critical events, the multiplicity of traumatic factors, physical closeness to a potential traumatic event. Are we close? Are we far? Is it something very simple or something very complex? So these are the traumatic factors. Third, the unpredictability and uncontrollability of the event. Sometimes it is something that we can control, and sometimes we just can't help, we can't do anything. We just are the victim, seeing passively, helplessly to what is happening. The intentionality to harm, the fourth one, this is a very, very important thing. Some people intentionally want to aggress, to harm us. And this is different from an accident. And the last one, in relation to the event, is that you will have somebody who will stand there and will refuse to give you some assistance. This is dramatic for me. The person is available, you see she is there, she is or he is a witness, doesn't do anything and leave you like that. This is, I found that tragic. Um, in big cities, we often have this situation in which somebody is aggressed in the street by somebody else and no people react. They just stand there, don't do anything, they don't intervene, and it's I find that tragic. I will tell you a story in which I was. It was in a psychiatric hospital. Each Thursday afternoon, we were receiving a seminar or a presentation, scientific presentation from a psychiatrist, from a psychologist about medication, anything about psychiatry. That Thursday afternoon, we had one psychiatrist who came to discuss one issue that was common, but nobody was talking of it. It was the possibility of aggression from the patient toward the professional. And in the office where I work with other professional, we have been all of us aggressed at least once, but sometimes with patients who are schizophrenic, it's like their force is amplified and they don't know what they do. So when they knock you, it could be very, very dangerous. So this psychiatrist decide to present the subject and discuss the subject with the professional. And then what happened is that one of his patients was out of control and was shouting in the corridor And then this patient entered in the conference room, walked to this psychiatrist, took the table and jumped on the table and uh, I don't know how to say that, reverse the table. So he put the table down. I was sit at the first row. Instantly, when I saw that, I run to master this patient and to help this patient not to do anything else and to protect himself from himself. But you know what? I was the only one. I was the only one to react instantly. After 1 minute, then the other people come, but they were in state of shock, not knowing what to do. And what we learned after, this was a play prepared by the psychiatrist with that patient to make us react to it was a very, very good, I would say, situation that we discuss a lot afterwards with the patient who played a role in it. It was a very, very good. And then the afterwards and for years, each time I met the psychiatrist, he was saying each time, "You saved my life. You saved my life." So um, I was working in a ward in which we could anytime be aggressive. This is a factor of unpredictability. Uh, so it's an example. It's an example. Now we have the factors related to the individual. So the first series is the event, the second is the individual. We have the gender. We understand that sometimes a man can defend himself better than a woman in front of a big 6-foot guy. The personality and vulnerability factors of the person. Does that person went through previous traumatism? And in my document, we have a section on that later. The previous personal events, physical and psychological condition at that moment for that person. Is that person ill? Is that person in um, with a disability to walk and to express herself? The previous psychological functioning, is that person depressed, anxious, um, psychotic? The medical and psychological case history, and the empathic vulnerability. So these are the factors related to an individual. And a third one is the level of psychological preparation. Lack of experience may put someone at risk. In my work, I had once to present uh, opening presentation to a large congress of police officers. There were 600 in the room. It was large. I have the Ministry of the Justice, the director of the police, and everything. This happened at a moment where it was in 2012. In Montreal, we have huge manifestations of students who were asking for free education in the university. And we had clashes between the police officers and the students. And I was myself on the side of the students, and then I was presenting to 600 police officers. And I told them that I understand they have to protect the society, but we are here in this Congress to think about this situation. And I was saying to them that we have to understand what is behind the demands of these students. They want access to education, and the best way to prevent crime is education. So I was explaining that to this police officer. But to prepare my presentation, I went working with them in patrol cars. So I went with them, I was with them with everything to protect myself. And I was doing many interventions with them. But we specialize uh, the police I was working with, we specialize with mental health issues because this is my specialization. Doing that, it's like it was an adaptation for me to the work of police officers. After that, I never saw the same way the police officials themselves. Uh, After that, it happened few times that I had to ask police officers to come to my office because I had an uncontrolled patient and we had to help him to go to an hospital. Once I had I was working in a difficult file situation, and then some criminal tried to intimidate me and shout in my window in my office. So again, I had to ask police officers to come. But now I am used. When I meet with them, I shake and, I am in charge. And it's funny because they come and I tell them who I am, what I do, I work with them. So it's going easy. If I did not have this experience, I would not be able to feel relaxed as that with them. So this is just a little example that explain, I work in courts. So now going in courts for me, it's not a problem. It's easy. The experience. So sometimes you are in the front of an event which is totally new for you and you don't know how to react, how to adapt. So this as this item, the level of psychological preparation is something very important.
Well, that's what we spoke and mentioned yesterday. It's 2014. It's for some, it started physically because
That's it.
financially and intellectually, it started for everyone in 2014.
Yes.
But emotionally and physically, it started for some of us in 2014, and now.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So those
It's a repetition now.
2014, yeah, the people, Ukrainians, who had to face that in 2014, they sort of keeping us stronger now. People who are,
Yes.
unfortunately,
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the fourth item is the degree of responsibility of the victim in triggering and or unfolding the event. This is for an accident. Sometimes you are doing something and you harm somebody else. And, I heard once very bad story. It was a client. He went in his car in just beside the house, and he had to go back. So he looked in the mirror, every side, left, right, the rear. It was all clear, and suddenly he heard something. It was his children of 2 years old who was, he could not see the children. He killed the children. This is an accident, and this man is unconsolable. It's impossible for him to overcome the guilt and the loss of that children. This is an accident. This is the responsibility of the victim. Psychological inner conflicts. We may have different sorts of conflicts. We may have conflicts around anger, around depression, around guilt, moral conflicts. We can have all that, and then we're confronted to an event. So this will play a role. It will complexify the response to the event. And at the opposite, the coping strategies. What I was describing you, life gave me the opportunity to develop a lot of coping strategies because of my work, because of everything which is dangerous I work with, military officers. I am in contract now, under contract with um, a train company. If they have an accident anywhere in Canada, they will call me and they will fly me to there to help their people, their employees who will be in state of trauma. So, I am used. So I do have this coping strategy, but it's not everybody who had the chance to develop that. So we have to take that into account. And the seventh one, the positive outcomes of the traumatic event. Sometimes something very bad will happen for somebody, and for somebody else it will be something positive in his life. I will give you dramatic example of that. During the Second World War, when the Nazi were chasing the Jews, then they were taking these people and sending them to camps. But this was uh, giving the opportunity to non-Jews to take the apartment or the house or the furniture in the apartment or the house. I would say these people, I hope that they felt guilty afterwards, but you saw that in France and in Poland, many places, many people benefit from that, which is cruel for me, but this is what happened. At the next page, in English, the cognitive factors, the belief, and including religious beliefs, they are important. They can help. They can help. And the last one, causal attribution, the way a person makes sense with a traumatic event. Some people are unable to integrate and to make sense with what happened. And this person, it is like they receive, let's say, particles of an explosion inside their body or a bullet, and it stays there and they can't do anything with it. They can extract it. It will not um, disappear by itself. We call that an external, and it's difficult to say it in English. It's something from the outside world that comes inside and stay intact. Intact. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't. It is not integrated by the body. It's not dissolved. It stayed there and makes damages. Damages. Now, the third kind series of factors, they are related to the milieu, so the environment. So you may have the presence or the absence of a social network. So some people are very isolated, and some people, they have family, they have friends, they have colleagues. So the network is important. Second, the family mood before the traumatic event. Was the family happy, unhappy, in conflict, depressed, anxious? This will have an effect on the response to the traumatic event. Third, the stability or instability of the environment. If you are in an environment which is very, very stable, you are in a neighborhood which is stable, with stable people around you, this is something. But if you are not, this will add the anxiety to the response. Fourth, the support capacity of relatives. Are the relatives able to help and support ourselves? You have situations in which the aggressor is a member of the family, of close relationship, yes.
Yeah, and here I'm maybe jumping ahead, but this
Yeah,
factor, number 4, that deals with relatives, is a very distinct factor, and it is real in Ukraine regarding the cultural issues. Not issues.
yes,
I can't even call it an issue because it's more of a propaganda that's being, well, planted in our
yes,
identity for a very long time. So now talking about family, the inner family's conflicts, and a lot of people now, they say no to either their mothers or to their siblings or to very close family, immediate family, and they're taking that responsibility and they're taking these choices due to their passport, due to their nationality. And it cannot be healthy, it is
yes,
healthy for the identity evaluation, if I may, or for the reasoning of your identity. But in your inner personal world, it is obviously going to hurt. Maybe not just now, after some time, but some people
yes,
are burning those bridges, not aggressively. They try over the years. We're not talking about 2022. We're talking about ever since, So
yes,
there's a lot of these factors that are taking place.
yes, yeah. All this uh, becomes a kind of checklist when we want to work with somebody. Do you have relatives? Do you have support? and all this. So I develop a scale, I reproduce a scale. I want to be honest, it's not my scale, but with all these factors, we could have a questionnaire. I did not do it yet, but I will do it in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
that
sir.
would be a good idea.
Absolutely.
So the fifth one, support from the colleagues and the organization. Sometimes you work somewhere and you have very, very good colleagues who help you, who support you. And then the larger community can support you too with programs. And the last one, access to mental care. So this is what I would say we need, and this is why we are here. That's okay. Now we go to a next section, the fifth one. Would you have any comments or other questions on that one, or
No,
it's
thanks,
okay?
Jos. Yeah,
It's
I
okay.
meant, yeah, just regarding the fourth one, but obviously all of them are taking place in your brain. All of them,
Good.
you can just see these in action, in practice.
Yeah, good. So
you.
the fifth one, we talk of previous psychotrauma.